Welcome to the Defiance and Obedience Podcast, seeking to build strong men in the home and public square. And here's your hosts, Josh, the Second Amendment absolutist, and Ian, the conspiracy guy.
We're back. We're back with some more Baptist beer. Or what is it? Not Baptist, Jesus beer.
Yeah, I don't think these people are Baptists.
No.
Even more Irish Jesus and even more Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, they said Xmas.
Satan worshipers.
Yeah, basically.
Yep.
If you put an X. If
Yeah.
you try to abbreviate.
Trying to cut out Christ out of Christmas. That's
exactly.
what that means.
You know what I hate, Josh?
Tell me what you hate.
I hate bald eagles. Can I still be American and hate bald eagles?
You know what? You and Ben Franklin would get along just fine.
Oh man,
Oh yeah, you've been having some fun with them.
Have you ever come home and seen a murder scene in your front yard?
I mean, infrequently.
Or perhaps evidence of them. No, I actually did. There were a couple piles of feathers, and there was a half-eaten chicken that apparently my mother-in-law chased off one of them.
She chased off the half-eaten one?
Yes. It dropped it when she started. I don't know. I don't have the video footage, but if I did, it might be entertaining.
Yeah.
I don't know if she ran with her arms flailing.
I can see your AI camera saying, "Bald eagle killing chicken." Irate lady chasing bald eagle killing chicken.
Yeah, the AI summaries for like my front door are pretty funny. Like sometimes it'll think the cat is a dog, or the cat is like a fox, or like it doesn't really know. Yeah. But
hey, you know what? If humans can't tell between male and female, then how can we expect to tell the difference between canines?
Yeah. No, but
felines.
I don't know if you've seen, or maybe you've seen the scene from. What is that movie with Sandra Bullock where
We Should Wonder for a while.
She goes to Alaska with whatever, and she's
Proposal?
Oh, Proposal? Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
And she's
I've not seen it at least 30 times in my peripheral in my house.
Yes. The scene where specifically, she's supposed to be like this business person from New York, and just completely, acting like doesn't know what nature is and things like that. So she's out there trying to get cell service, and then the little family dog follows her out there and gets swooped up by I think an eagle, and then I think she tosses the phone at the eagle, and the eagle drops the dog, and she catches it. And then she doesn't know whether to be happy that the dog is back, or that, or more pissed that she lost her phone. So it might have been like that scene.
Yeah, it probably was.
Although I don't think my mother-in-law chucked her phone at the eagle.
But Nora was watching that movie on her own, and we didn't really realize it until I think she started using the word bitch, if I remember right. I think that's what it was, because in the beginning the little girl uses that word.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, that was like, where did she get that from? And then one day I hear this movie playing, I'm like, oh, okay, well, you shouldn't be watching that movie anyway.
Well, what do you call Karen at home?
Oh man, now I gotta really think. Wait, speaking of bald eagles, don't want to get off that subject.
No.
Have you seen the reel where the guy catches like a decent sized trout? Maybe, I can't remember what it is. It's like 1.5 foot.
And then an eagle comes and gets it.
Well, yeah, this eagle's like swooping around him, and so he's like holding it up in the air. It gets close, it's coming towards him, and he throws it up in the air, like tosses it to the bald eagle, and the bald eagle catches it and flies off.
Wow.
It was so cool. I was like, and I don't think it was AI either. It looked real. Like the guy didn't have 6 fingers or anything like that.
Did you show like your father-in-law or anything, and did he verify that it wasn't AI?
Exactly. For sure.
Yeah.
I go to the experts for that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think you can say with relative confidence that the bald eagle's no longer endangered.
Yeah, for sure.
It's endangering my chickens and everybody else is in the area.
Yep.
Mine aren't even out in in the middle of a field. They're in the forest.
They're kind of hidden in there, so they have to really be looking for them.
And granted, I was going to say only when they're out in my yard how they got them, but that's not true. Last summer, I had to put up a net because I lost several of my pullets. Like they were, maybe 6-month-old birds. Yeah. And just one after, I'm like, dang it.
Is it illegal? Because like all in the sake of freedom to shoot like fireworks at bald eagles? Can you do that? Like just have some Roman candles that you get out, like it's swooping into your yard. You're like, freedom! And then start shooting some.
I don't know. It sounds like you might start getting into some Iran type of situation where you got like crossfire and people blowing things up with like homemade drones, or not homemade, but I don't know. But I'd say we start with Irish.
That sounds good. It's getting, I don't know if
it's got mixed reviews,
rave reviews or rage reviews, but I was looking at I don't know, Beer Advocate or something like that, and
or Untapped,
and it was not getting.
So I would expect. I mean, usually Irish is like a dry stout. Usually it's a low ABV, which this is 4.7. Oh, and it says dry stout. Okay, I'm not trying to actually be the beer nerd, but
I mean, because you are.
I mean, beer nerd, conspiracy guy, whatever you want to call me.
Conspiracy nerd.
So this would be, I mean, in theory, it would be similar to, what's that, Sullivan's?
Yeah. There's the black malt. Oh,
black marble stout.
Irish.
No, that's the red ale over there. Yeah. But a couple weeks ago we had the Irish. Is this one Irish?
It has to be.
Yeah. With a name like Sullivan. Oh. Sullivan's Black Marble Stout. Yeah. This one, but this one was nitro, so it had somehow they were able to nitro it in a can.
Does it have the little nitro
bomb
in there?
I think that's
it's just a Guinness exclusive.
Yeah, I think Guinness made their little widget thing. And this one was a 5.1%, so similar ABV.
It is very dry and actually smells a little bit like a dark cigar.
Yeah. I mean, it's serviceable.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, there was one review said, horrid, embarrassing, Imperial home brewing fail. Glad it was this disappointing because I really wanted to drink something else. This thing sucks surprisingly hard. Undrinkable horse buggy. And then somebody said a great example of the style. So,
okay. Got some range.
Yeah, I would say it's a good example. I mean, I tend to think of it's for an Irish. It's actually got a little bit of body to it. Mm-hmm. Usually they're a little bit more thin. I'm somebody that thinks that Guinness is a little thin.
Yeah, I mean,
I drink this over Guinness.
The only time I even attempt to drink Guinness usually is St. Patty's.
Yeah.
And even then, I might think of it last minute. I'm like, oh, it might be interesting. I haven't had it in a couple of years or something. And then I'm like, oh, it's all sold out because it's St. Patty's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because this is through Evil Twin Brewing, which is out of New York. Guy kind of looks homeless.
Yeah. He's like, this is my car that I'm living on. Literally on. Can't even live in. I've got all my brewing equipment in my car.
Okay, and I thought I remember this. So it says Evil Twin was started up nomadically in 2010 by Jeppe Jarnit Bergerzo.
For sure. That's a traditional Irish name.
In 2012, Jeppe and his family decided to move to New York City, joined the burgeoning local beer scene in 2016. He was approached with the opportunity to finally root his ideas and start Evil Twin Brewing.
That's right, because he would go. I remember reading about this years ago. He would go to work basically with different breweries to make their stuff, and
so
it's a fantastic idea if you've got that kind of relationship.
Totally. I mean, collaboration is, they say, it's a huge part of what they do, and now they must have their own space now. But they started like just brewing in other people's facilities essentially. But that's with a lot of industries. Once you actually get on the inside, I mean, some obviously don't work this way. I imagine firearms companies aren't doing a lot of collabs.
Yeah. No.
But in the food industry,
that'd be amazing to see that. Yeah.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, beer is beer. Like something like specialized like firearms, where they're trying to like it's all about patents and it's all about proprietary stuff.
The only collabs you'll see is you'll have like some influencer, and they'll put his name on an AR-15 and make it look ugly and cut holes in it and stuff like that.
I mean, I wouldn't even mind a collab between like, I don't know, some manufacturer and like Montana Knife Company or something, and do like an orange version or something.
Yeah, totally.
But that's still more just aesthetic and more like branding than really like putting two heads together. And you really only get like collaborations like that, I think, during wartime when they're like, hey, we need to develop, this certain round that can penetrate, Russian steel.
277, Russian pot metal.
I've been becoming more interested in coyote hunting, and I've been following this Facebook group, and somebody was talking about.
He's using coyote as a euphemism for bald eagle.
They'll never know. What's that 22 round that is like a hunting round? 22 arc, is it?
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, they're doing all kinds of arc stuff. 6 mil arc. Is it 22?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure. That'd be a varmint round.
Yeah. Hornady's 22 arc.
Oh, okay. Look at that. That looks fast.
Yeah, it's got a lot of powder.
I really want to get into I've been interested in the 6.5 Grendel. It's not as cheap as it used to be, but
so I think that's an AR-15. That's a 223 next to a.
That looks possibly 223 on the top and then the 20. Oh wow, huh?
So it's kind of fatty.
Yeah.
But when I saw 22 I had to look it up because I'm like, why would you be hunting a coyote with 22?
And then you're like, oh.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, that looks legit.
Yeah.
Because the projectile looks a lot heavy. I mean, it's kind of more, it's almost got the curves of a 300 Blackout, where it's got big fatty base.
Heavy 22 bullet.
And a more, heavier round itself.
Is it like 220?
It just, it says, well, he said when they developed the round, it was originally carried the title of 22 Coyote.
Okay.
He was wondering if it was possible to get a 22-250 performance out of an AR-15. And so, basically, he was trying to get the performance of a 6.8 SPC and 6.5 Grendel out of this cartridge.
It is a 224 cal.
And so I guess this round didn't come until like 2017 or something.
It's the same. That's interesting. So it's using the same bullet. It's just a necked down, blown out case. So a lot of the same. Yeah, they've got a 62 grain ELD. Use a 77 grain.
Or there's even
88 grain.
Yeah.
Ooh. See, I wish that there was more affordable availability. I mean, I'd like to stock 77 grain only. Using shorter barrels, heavier bullets are nice. But that looks interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
I've been looking at a 6 arc or 6.5 Grendel. I think there's another 6.5 something, 6.5 Creedmoor. I don't know. I want a hunting caliber in a AR-15 package, and I don't really care about magazines. They can use those weird Grendel AK looking magazines, but I want to be able to use the same bolt head. I don't know if that's possible. But because a lot of them you have to use the a 6.5 Grendel bolt head, so it's a little bit wider. It's a less strong, robust bolt head. So.
Okay. How much would you guess a 22 arc 88 grain bullet round is going for these days?
$150.
You can definitely find them for that, but they're between $1.15 and $1.30.
Okay.
It goes up from there, but not crazy.
Yeah. But it's not like you're shooting 5.56, where it's going to be more accurate.
Yeah, and that's for a polymer tip, Hornady 22 arc 88 grain bullet.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah,
I've shot a lot of 300 blackout lately, so that's not bad.
I mean, I would be happy just getting because we've been looking at this super affordable. That optic that I sent you.
Oh yeah, the
thermal.
Yeah,
oh,
man.
And
cool.
I mean, for $800, you can get a decent. It's got a smaller window because it's designed for a pistol, but you can mount it on a long gun. And
I'd 100% use that for long gun. Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
I'd like to put that right on the top of my ACOG.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be a perfect setup.
Yeah, because I'm already thinking about. I mean, we had a cat go missing here in the last few days.
Oh yeah,
and I'm wondering if it was a coyote. It could have been a raccoon or something, but it's getting me thinking. Really like to take some things out.
Yeah.
Since I can't take the dang eagle out, or can I?
Roman
Accidents
candles.
happen.
That's right.
But you know what? People are still trying to commit evil in the world. I mean,
evil taking out predators.
Yeah, evil on all scales.
Yeah.
Some. I mean, just in the last few weeks, you have the guys attempting to throw bombs in New York. No,
those were just two young men that went on a nice little drive, up to New York. They, just threw some smoke bombs out. They were not, yelling Aloha snack bar and, trying to, kill anybody.
Did we ever hear any more about the plane one where they were some dude? I sent it to you or I sent you a screenshot.
Oh yeah.
Somebody yelled Aloha snack bar on the plane.
That's right. I haven't heard anything about that.
But I don't know whatever happened to it. But I did see a video of some passengers tackling the guy.
Oh really? Okay.
So at least we still have some men in our society.
Yeah.
But I think like Corolla says, I think we're gonna have the two corners. We're gonna have the octagons, the people just willing to jump in the ring, do violence with a good bent. And then we're going to have the safe spaces and the safe spaces and octagons.
It's such a weird thing. Had a conversation recently with somebody who I don't think has ever weighed the cost of taking on the responsibility of protecting their loved ones. And for them, it was like, there's police that can be called, and, if we try to do anything, we could probably get hurt. And this is a person that in a lot of ways I respect, but I was pulling out whatever hair I had left at the thought of this person telling me you have to weigh the cost of that. It's like, look, girlfriend, I've been weighing the cost of this my entire life.
Right.
Like, I've looked at it. I honestly have looked at it from all different sides. I've been briefly went over to, it's not worth doing anything to, like, no, this is just my job as a man, to protect my family. And in the case of, the public environments where I spend my time, that overflows to the people that are there, church and such. And so,
well, you have, I mean, you had an incident a couple months ago that could have escalated with that, somebody stealing out of what grocery store was that?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Right there near our town, or near where I lived. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Dude comes running out, of IGA, and, he's getting chased down, and I don't know if it was their LP guy or if it was just somebody else that was randomly working there, but, chasing the guy down. I was like, well, I don't want him to be alone,
Right.
whatever happens here. And so I hop up, and first thing I do is, like, you got to be a good witness. So I did post that picture or that video to social media. But it was because, I didn't end up having to throw my phone down and do something else. But, and I wanted, people to be on the lookout for this guy. But yeah.
Yeah, you just never know how those things are gonna. Sometimes they just get desperate, no matter how small the loot is that they're taking.
Yeah.
They just get.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that loss prevention guy to, like, tackle him, and all of a sudden he pulls out a knife and starts stabbing him. And so he's doing his job protecting his company, and I don't want him to be alone in that. I mean, I don't want to be a hero. I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt anybody, let alone myself. But what I would rather more than anything is that somebody dies or gets grievously hurt when I could have done something about it.
Yeah.
There was a couple of years ago. Like most common decent people, I have a long gun that I carry in my vehicle all the time. I think everybody does that, right? And
big stapler.
Yeah,
or a
that's right.
hole puncher.
And I'm coming home from work, and I refer to her as the miniature deputy, because she's in our area a lot. And so, I'm there with the family. I see her drive along, like, oh, there's the mini deputy. I mean, she might be 5 foot tall. I don't know. But she was in the middle of 92 with this guy that looked all of like 7'2". He was a giant, and she was like up to his hip. And I drove by, and I'm like, they're in the middle of the road. And I'm like, I'm not gonna stop and do anything. I don't want to get in the way. That's her job. She should be making sandwiches at home, but she's not. But, like, that's her. And I drove past it. I was like, ah, dang it! Like, if he picked her up and started swinging her around, by her ankles, I would feel awful hearing about that the next day. So I, unholstered my long gun, and I'm like, how is this going to play out? I was already half a mile away when I decided to turn around, and so I come back, and I'm like playing through the scenario. How do I not get shot by the good guys? How do I not shoot this guy? But how do I help maintain this thing? If she's lost control by the time I get back there, and fortunately, like, she called in the cavalry, and so by the time I came around, there was like 4 other deputies around there. And, like, there's just a thing as a guy that you should have where you want to protect the people that are around you. I don't think everybody needs to be
as a guy, as a, as the commander of the police unit or whatever, like, you should want to protect, like, hey, I'm not going to not hire you because, not because I don't like you, not because you're not a good candidate in these other ways, but I actually care about your safety, and I can't protect you out there.
Yeah, absolutely. this, like, you can't say this in this day and age, but like, this isn't your actual role. And you might be able to do better than, one out of every five
maybe even
but,
at 95% of the job that you need to do, but the 5% where you need to be violent and you need to be explosive and dominate somebody.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're not the one.
And that's a hard reality. In terms of our, desire to be diverse and all the other stuff. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's like, talk about sports being the equalizer in that type of crap where, guess what? It's all about performance. So I don't care what your race is.
Yeah.
I don't care, where you're from.
Yeah.
Go out there and show me that you can do this thing, whatever that feat is. We were listening to this talk the other day about from Bodhi Bakum, and how he was talking about how the worldview of the Marxists want to talk about the oppressor and the oppressed, like that dynamic in every part of society, and how what they won't bring up is the disparity between white and blacks in, say, the NFL or in the NBA. Because guess what? There's 60-70% black. And, I just heard, like a month ago, how few coaches are black, in those roles. And it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
what? Yeah.
Like,
they're not being kept, like, if they're being kept out because they're black, then that's,
Yeah, like, there's some, like...
Maybe there's not black guys that are looking to be coaches.
Right.
It, like, if you look at Olympic swim teams, not a lot of black dudes.
Yeah.
The reason is there's not a lot of black dudes that are, out there swimming.
But
and they don't want to.
Who's letting all these Kenyans win marathon races?
Exactly. Nobody's complaining about that.
And so they want to set up this narrative of the oppressor and the oppressed in the spaces that they want to prove their point.
Yeah.
The other ones, you're not allowed to talk about that.
Yeah.
And so, even in this space where it's like, hey, we will absolutely hire women to be support staff for our people. Like there are many brave women throughout the world wars that were played vital roles that was not on the front lines.
Yeah.
At least in terms of combat. Like they might have been on the front lines, as nurses or whatever.
Yeah. In field hospitals and those kinds of things.
Because here's the thing, we actually do believe that God created them with a purpose, with a design in mind, not just, hey, all things equal, everybody do what you feel like.
Yeah. Well, like, my little girl wants, guns and knives so that she can go out there and play with her brothers. I don't know if that's like to play with them or to actually attack them. But like, so one of the things that I did to train her in the right direction is like, you should have something to protect yourself. But also your role as a female is to care for people. And so while her brothers get knives and bows and arrows and guns, she gets everything that will fix the damage that those kinds of things can do. So she has a tourniquet, and she has a whole little field kit that's on the headrest of my truck that is, she can pull it off, and it even has a little, squeaky duck with a knife in its hand because, she's cute and dangerous. And so she has Band-Aids and all that in there, and so she can pull that out and fix something that needs to get fixed. And so it's a way for being part of it while saying this is also not your role. So,
well, like what two things did Lucy get from...
Yeah, remind me. Was it a potion and a knife? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Yep, magic
cordial. That's right.
Cordial to heal, and then also a little dagger to protect.
Yep.
A little dagger you're not taking out on the battlefield as your primary.
Yeah.
You're not going on the offensive. It's a defensive strategy. Because I think the quote was, "Battles are ugly when women fight."
Man, that's true. And they're ugly for different reasons too. It's not just that it's a man hates to see a woman get attacked. It's seeing how do you say that? Seeing somebody put into a role that they should not have, it just comes out looking ugly. I guess that's the
I mean, it's women's combat sports to me. You know, like we talked about that with Dean, where you're seeing two women beat each other up. You know, it's just,
you know, and it's crazy. Ronda Rousey is one of them, and
or at least she was. I don't know, is she still in it?
She's out of it. Gina Carano, like both, crazy good at a lot of different things, and end up fighting. But like, it churns my stomach to see girls just punching each other in the face and acting like dudes.
Yeah.
Dang, that's a good looking beer.
Yeah, going on from punching girls in the face to even more Christmas. So another one, we got the twins of Evil Twin. So we just moved on from even more Irish Jesus to even more Xmas. So this is another one distributed by 12%. We've had several of those.
Yeah.
Must be an East Coast distributor. It just says 12% Imperial Stout.
Huh. And Evil Twin.
And Evil Twin.
I actually like the nose of the Irish one better. This just kind of, this isn't, I mean, a lot of really good beers smell like this, but this smells kind of like just a brewery where you have some beer that falls on the floor and gets stale. Like, you just go into a brewery and it's like a good brewery smell. It's not the best beer smell.
It says, on Untapped, it says Imperial Stout brewed with almond, vanilla, muscovita, sugar, maple, marshmallow, cough. Wait.
Cough?
Is that what that means, or is it cut off? There's more.
Nah.
You click show more. Marshmallow coffee, raspberry, and chocolate. I am not picking up. Okay. So the flavor is more than the nose.
Yeah. A lot more. Yeah.
Yeah. I am actually picking up some of the raspberry.
Yeah. The tissues over there. I'm gonna blow my nose so I can really smell this thing.
Yeah, anyway, this is an interesting one. I don't think it's... it doesn't say barrel-aged. They're calling it a double pastry stout, which usually a pastry stout is really sweet. This is not that sweet.
It's not, but it is like a really rich homemade German chocolate cake. Like right on the tail end of that, it just gets all of that kind of vibe going on.
Somebody said it tasted overly clovish.
It has a little bit of clove, but I've definitely had beers that are. No, that's not. I mean,
somebody said this is an overly sweet stout. I don't think so.
They must have had like a gallon of Irish stuff before that. This is very nice. I mean,
yeah, and I can see how it fits in the Christmas Christmassy theme with the raspberry, and I get some of that almondy vanilla.
Yeah, it's more like the berryness I get is more cranberry like, which would be more Christmassy. Like when you have like a cider with cranberries in it, kind of reminds me of that.
Oh yeah,
it's a little bit muted, but you can pick it up.
Hey, speaking of celebratory occasions, we got our for the school that both Josh and I teach at. We have our fundraiser feast coming up in what? Month and a half? Yeah, a little under 2 months.
Yeah.
May 15th, 5:30. You can check out our socials for more soon, but just put it on your calendar. It's on a Friday night. It's always a good time. If you live in our area and are thinking you want to do a different thing than homeschool, or you're wanting a principled Christian, classical Christian education for a kid. And we've talked more about what we mean by that, but we would love for you to either check it out as potentially a prospect, or if you see the vision and love it, then come and support it.
It is a great time. Like, if you're just not sure, it's actually a great time to come and see what the culture of the school is about.
Yeah, we're not just looking for big pockets. We're looking for people that see the vision.
If your investment is your family getting involved with our school, that would be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that's the most that you can do, that would be amazing to get on board. So it's one of those things that, like, come and enjoy and get to know the people, and I think even at that, you'll be blessed.
Yeah.
If you catch the fever and you want to contribute, that's great. But it is one of those really hands-off kind of things where you're not going to have a lot of pressure to throw down some coin. We just want people to see what we're about, and
absolutely. And
I think it's a great way to see if this is where you want to bring your children to, or your grandchildren, if you
totally, yeah, yeah. Because marketing is one of those tough things. How do you get the right information to the right people?
Yeah,
and
we're really about, like, you don't have to be an egghead. You don't have to be like a theologian, but if you want to advance culture that loves God and wants more people to know about God, and you want to do that with your family, then we're probably in the right category of a school for you. So if that interests you, and if you listen to us, and you want to, like, come and join at least some familiar faces, we'll make sure that you could sit at one of our tables.
Totally.
Even.
It's good food. It's good fellowship. And it's a good time. It's one of my favorite nights of the year for school events, and worth checking out. On that note of, how do we, and raising kids that are, culture shapers and culture makers. We were talking a little bit about how do you, I guess I was trying to synthesize what we were talking about, but essentially I think, how do you get your children, in terms of the output of your parenting? What are you producing? What is it? What is the final outcome, or what are you seeing as the ongoing outcome? As, like, wanting them to want in. Mm-hmm. That's one of the ways that things that I'm constantly thinking about. What do I want for my kids? I want them to want in, and that obviously that needs to be defined. Hopefully, it's into the right things. Like, they want to be in with the church, in with the family for the right reasons. If they're pulling away, then maybe there's father hunger. There's not. Yeah. You're not inputting the right things. But I want them to want in, and I also want them at the end of the day to not only want in, but I want them to be okay with other people. Not just okay, but able to work with other people.
Yeah.
Because
to see a difference in direction or opinion, and be able to be fine with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we've both seen examples, maybe in ourselves, or now we're maybe trying to do something the same or different in our parenting, based on those experiences or those observations of times where they've been. The term sheltered gets thrown around, but sometimes that can be an accurate representation of where they're just like, no, anybody who's not in our family, no.
Yeah.
Or if they are, then I'm sitting there between you like a chaperoned date or something. And of course, there is room for, how old are they? What are we talking about? Are we, is it two toddlers playing together in the room and you're sitting there, observing, or is it two teenagers and, you feel the need to sit right there and make sure they don't get exposed.
Leave room for Jesus.
They make sure they don't get exposed to any words that they've never heard before, or because I think the stereotype for sheltered can get thrown around like it is a negative stereotype, but there is a positive side to shielding your kids from things before they need what you need to introduce them to things and as they can handle it. But I think there's although it's a negative stereotype, there is a place for sheltering. But there's also it's not just shelter and then go out in the world and good luck.
Protecting I think might be a better word than sheltering. So I think sheltering is a time when you're just like blocking anything from happening, And
in wartime, there's a place for sheltering.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but like, firewood. We'll use firewood for an example because I use a lot of that. I could provide all the shelter in the world for my firewood and it'll never dry out, So I need to actually expose it to the harsh rays of the sun. So that it'll actually dry out and be usable.
Which is hard in the dense forest.
It really is.
Of Walton Wood.
It is. Yeah, it's Mirkwood down there. and so, like, I might need that harshness of the sun to come in and be difficult to the wood in order to make it ready to be used eventually. And I want some good things or even harsh things to just have my kids exposed to, some difficulty or just different thoughts. I'm not afraid, last weekend, Ethan went to his friend's house and we know their church. We have lots of friends that go to their church. And so Ethan got to go check out their church and I'm not afraid of him going there and, being swayed over to the other side when it's brothers and sisters. They're not Mormons. They're not Jehovah's Witnesses. They're not the Church of the Devil or anything like that.
I thought Mormons were Christians.
They thought that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I want him to go and see that. And typically what happens is I think he figured out this year, planned so far, like from last year to, midway through this year, he'll have gone to 5 different churches, which is more than he's been to in his life. And so he's come away appreciating some of the things about other churches and liking some things and also going, no, I really like these aspects of my church in comparison. So.
I don't think you can escape the fact in human experience in as a whole, I don't think you can escape the fact that you need to go outside what you have to appreciate what you have.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I don't want my kids to only ever experience our church, even though, like, now I'm committed to our church. I don't see any reason to visit, but I've visited a million other churches in my time.
Yeah.
Moving to the other side of the country, even during college, like, we had a religion course that I went and visited a Mormon church. We visited a Hindu temple, various religions and other denominations. We went to a Reformed church and like all kinds of things, like a high church Reformed church with lots of ceremony and things. But I just don't think it's like the kids of a rich businessman who has only known luxury vehicles and elite vacations.
Yeah.
How could he possibly appreciate that if he's never experienced anything otherwise? I think if that father is wise, he says, go do something.
Yeah.
I'm here to support you, but you're kind of on your own for a little bit. Of course, it varies with the kid and it varies with, male, female, but we have to, for our own selves and for our kids, we have to get outside of what we're...
Well, you hear both, Rogan and Corolla talking about how they have to figure out how to make life a little difficult on their kids. And I think probably I'm going to guess that Rogan is a little bit better at that than Corolla. But they realize that the way that they are now is because life actually was not easy growing up. And they're actually afraid for their children in a way because life has become a lot easier. Yeah. And so, you know, I mean, we have, you know, Bill Gates, whatever he is now. But years ago, when his kids were still very young, I think he said that he had like set aside like $3 million a piece for them or something like that. And that
I don't like the idea of not leaving anything for your kids, even among the rich. You know, like giving it all to charity or whatever you want to call it. Like,
let's say I was in that category. You know, I could see like, you know what, you make it to 35 on your own. And then, you know, your trust opens up and helps you out. Because at that time, you actually know what to do with some of that money, you know. I would not deprive them of the joy of trying to figure out how to pay for their first car. And also, like, you know, they're going to, you know, if I'm in that category of a wealthy businessman or, you know, whatever, they're going to already have a benefit of my name. So I want them to go and have the stress of actually, they can use the name, but they're going to actually have to go make something for themselves. And then when they've had that stress for a time, then being able to know what to do with the money that I would leave for them. But yeah, I don't like you hear so many times where, oh, this is my money, I earned it, you know, I'm going to go give it all away and you're getting, you know, my name.
Right.
I actually don't think that's a biblical thing.
And I think that more than just needing to know how to interact with others, I think and specifically people that you don't like or are like you're going to have bosses that you don't like, you're going to have. So getting them, even at our school that we love. Yeah. Not every student is going to love every teacher. And there's going to be difficulties based on personality, based on, you know, their own unique challenges. But helping your kid persevere through that and learning how, okay, so do you see how the teacher was going after this and how you took it this way? Or maybe they didn't say it in the most kind way, but here's what they were after. Or, hey, maybe you need to go talk to that teacher and say, what did you mean by that? Helping them work through that rather than being like, oh, don't worry, I got it. You know, like you don't always need to step in. There is a time for stepping in, but not every moment. But in addition to that, learning that tension, learning how to deal with those things, I think, and this is something I think my dad identified early on by putting, like, letting us lean into youth ministry and things like that, is that he knew he didn't know everything. And you need other people to help input. And you got your own bent. You don't want your kids to grow up with all your same weaknesses.
Totally. Right? Yeah, so I was homeschooled for the majority of my scholastic career. And I think that one thing that my mom did very well, my dad was hands off with a lot of things. So I never really felt a lot of direction from him growing up. But with my mom, she was really good about making sure that we had a lot of other involvement, you know, with church, with you know, getting into sports, with going out and doing co-op events. Co-op schools were not really a thing when I was growing up, but like going to different homeschool events where you're meeting other homeschoolers and stuff like that.
What could go wrong there?
Nothing at all. Literally nothing.
Let's meet other people who are in the same boat.
But like, you know, I never felt. I mean, there were certain insecurities that come from being homeschooled, but I never felt like socialization was a thing. That never seemed to be a problem. You know, maybe others would say different, but I haven't heard anybody say different yet.
You know, Josh, why are you so weird?
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of reasons.
Why do you live in a van down by the river?
Yeah, I've chosen some weirdness in my life. But yeah, I like that never seemed to be a thing with my parents where they were afraid of outside influence. And I think that because I do think that homeschooling can be done well, but I think one of the biggest problems with homeschooling is having a singular influence on your child. If you're going to homeschool, you actually need to make sure that there are other adults that are overseeing your children in your place. Whether it's, and this is like the struggle with it, but like, because I don't let my kids just stay overnight at anybody's house. But like,
why not? What do you have against other people?
Lots of things. Serious trust issues. How about that? But
yeah.
But like, one of the biggest values I see with sending my children to our school is the feedback I get from other teachers. And at times it's been like, all right, that's just your opinion, man.
Right.
and then the majority of times is like, all right, we're seeing the same things. I appreciate that we're working on this together. And that is, your children actually need to hear your principles given to them with different words and a different culture. So that's, I think, one of the beauties that you have in a school like this, where and you don't get that at like kind of an outreach style school, where if you're sending your kids to a Christian school because they're a problem or because you want them to have an outside good influence, mm-hmm. you're still not going to get what you are teaching your children at home. Whereas here, by and large, you are going to get what you were teaching your children at home at ECS. You're going to get a teacher that is going to say this, give the same principles that your family holds in a way that is going to sound different than the way that you say them. So you're getting reinforcement. It's not just having your concrete or your rebar for a foundation. It's going to be mixing somebody else's concrete or rebar into your foundation that just reinforces it.
It makes it more, it's like making it an alloy instead of pure.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it actually makes it stronger.
Yep.
Because even with terms and words, like sometimes you can use the same word over and over again. And you're like, you could ask your kid, why do we do what we do? And they give your canned answer. And then mm-hmm. they ask you or you ask them, what does that mean? And they're like, I don't know, we say it all the time. But then when they're able to, use different words to describe that or see it played out in a different way, even differences, like say they go over to somebody's house for a thing at an approved household. Yeah. And then they're like, then they're like, hey, this happened. It was kind of weird. I didn't know why this happened, And they're like, oh, yeah, well, so what were the details? And, okay, well, this family sees this thing as a really important thing. Yeah. And we also see it as important, but maybe not as important as they do. Or, just helping them say, hey, they handle this a little bit differently. Yeah, we really like these people, and we see this a little bit differently, and that's okay. Yep. And obviously, I mean, there's a gamut of things in terms of the broader society. Like, hey, mommy, I saw somebody with, purple hair, and it looked like a dude, but it sounded like a girl. Those are bigger things.
That's why you don't go to the dollar store, child.
Or the drugstore, or the bank, or you can't avoid them. Yeah. But helping your people interpret the world, while I guess you define protection versus sheltering, where you're equipping them to face the reality of the world, while not guarding them from any exposure to it. Like you're gradually giving them exposure, sometimes more than
you're more like a shield than a bunker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, you can't always control how much exposure they get. Like you're walking down the street, some methed out dude, whips his pants off, and there's a penis.
Yeah.
You know, like, or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
or whatever was
you cannot,
there.
right. You cannot control that. Like, and that's actually not a crazy scenario. You know, like there's
unfortunately
lots of people, you know, like their first question might just be like, what was wrong with that guy?
Yeah.
You know,
why did that woman have a 5 o'clock shadow?
Right. I mean, and helping them process like, hey, how do you get there? You know, like just breaking it down into child's terms can actually take a lot of the politics and stuff out of it. You're just like, you know what? Some people are really looking for meaning in the world, and they don't know where to find it, and so they resort to stuff like this. Sometimes, I mean, I have a guy that I used to work with that said he was just at a really broken point. He had his fiance of how many years had just broken up with him. And he was at a gas station, and some Russian dude walked up to him and said, hey, you want this? Like, basically, like, it was just very forward, and he got hooked on fentanyl, and it sent his life in a spiral, and he ended up recovering. But I mean, it can be crazy circumstances that it just these aren't all people coming from the same avenue. And that's just one thing that we face in our society here in Washington all the time. If you're in Wyoming, it might be different. We see, you know, whacked out people all the time. And that's something that you can't predict. You can't, you're not going to gradually introduce your kid to, unless you tell them, hey, we're going for a drive. You wear this blindfold. You know, we're going to the store. Wear this blindfold. You take it off when we get there. You know, like that's sheltering. That's not helping them process things. And I there's room for spectrum in here. There's room for, you know, people over here, people over here. But at the end of the day, if we're Christians, if we're not training our children to be afraid of the world, but to we want them to be capable, and we're training them to be spouses to somebody. We want them to be well suited for that role, not overwhelmed all of a sudden when at 18 or whatever age it is that they get married or they start dating or whatever that looks like, that they're overwhelmed by what's all this evil in the world. What's how do I handle these people outside of our little bubble here?
You won't have a perfect child, but you don't want to pass on to their spouse things left undone. And that's a big one. Like, there's going to be things uncompleted. It hit me recently, and I don't know why it was only recently, because it's been longer than this, but like, my wife has been a Walton longer than she's been a Bradford at this point. And so, like, her parents had the formative years, and then I've had the years where we have built our own family together. And so there's actually more responsibility in my life now to have done the finishing work on the work that our parents have done. And, you know, how well have I done that to make this generation of Walton more God-fearing, more Christ-like, more God-glorifying than the previous generation of Walton, and also the Bradford line more reflective of God. I've been given a...
you were given a thing. Now, how are you making a profit on it?
Exactly,
how are you doing something with it?
Yep. Yeah. And so, you know, how can I give my children's spouse something to work with, you know, that is less like either unmaintained or unbroken, and more complete, you know, to give them like a running start into their relationship.
Right.
Yeah,
and there's it's never too late. There is definitely a sense in which the concrete starts to set early on, but that doesn't mean that wherever God finds you at, that's where he wants you. That's where, when you feel convicted, that's the time to start moving. It's like when's the right time to plant a tree?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like don't wait another couple decades.
Yeah. No way. Yeah.
Because I look at, some relationships that, maybe I knew the people back when I was a kid as well. And I look at, their, on Facebook or whatever, their relationships that are just, they're there with their parents, but, they're just, for instance, like people that kind of went astray, came back-ish, and they're kind of, they have grandkids and they're, they want relationship there, and they lost some of that traction years ago when they decided to wait. This is kind of off the path of what we're talking about, but it reminded me of this because we were talking about wealth and passing that on, and there was a story this last year. I didn't realize it was all the way back in October, but this guy. He's a billionaire. He's a real estate guy in the LA area, Donald Bren, and his son basically tried to use his dad's influence, saying, "Yeah, my dad's Donald Bren, billionaire, and he's in with me on this scheme." And he built this whole thing about the ultimate man cave, and you're gonna get your selection of all these luxury cars and blah blah blah. The thing never happened. He just tried to take the money and run, basically.
Oh, wow.
Which I don't know how you'd ever expect that to work, but
no kidding.
But really, it all started with him basically abandoning his son and ex-wife and I think 2 kids, and basically they ended up. It looks like they filed a lawsuit in 2010, claiming. They needed additional and retroactive child support, claiming a right to a lifestyle consistent with their father's wealth.
Wow.
Which is, you got neglect and cheap shot and, all kinds of stuff. But it started with him. It started with him, like, the second that your son or daughter is conceived, you now have a responsibility to them. And, if you think you can just... I don't know. Maybe he thought his son should have been grateful that he was even born, or that he's given him anything in this life.
That's just basic.
Yeah. And what he's got in return for the little that he put into his son was just more of what he cultivated, which was greed and.
Yeah. He taught him something.
Oh, sure.
He taught him something like.
And he would say, I'm sure he would say, I didn't teach him any of that. I'm a smart businessman.
Yeah, I taught him how to not be responsible. I wasn't responsible for him, so he's not being responsible for my name now.
Right.
Yeah.
So it just...
He learned his lesson well.
Yeah. No matter what you're doing, you're teaching.
Yeah.
Whether in school, whether in... your kids are always watching. So what are you doing? How do you respond when you mess up? How do you course correct? And... Don't wait another decade to do it, because you want those grandkid days to be glorious and not. You don't want bitterness on your part or their part.
Yeah.
So keep short accounts and, make a shift when you see you need one.
Yep.
Anyway, weld that defiance and obedience in one inseparable whole. This has been another episode of the Defiance and Obedience podcast, and there might not be another one for a couple of weeks because we got spring break. We got
here's your chance to catch up.
East Coast trip coming up, so feel free to dig back into the archives if you missed something along the way.
All right, thanks for joining us for another episode of the Defiance and Obedience podcast. Come back next time for another dose of constructive contrarianism, curious musings, and fatherhood direction.